Okay, it's 7 o'clock. We'll call the regular village board meeting to order. If everyone would rise to say the pledge, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The clerk would please call the roll.
Marevka? Here. Jones?
Here.
March?
Here.
Parker?
Here.
Ham?
Here.
Bowden?
Here.
All right, approval or corrections to the minutes of the June 25th, 2018 regular village board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
They just said
June?
one,
Oh, sorry.
July 23rd.
That says June. We'll change that to July. I'm sorry.
So sorry.
That's okay. I was just reading. All right, July 25th, 2018.
One just minor little thing. Mike, do you remember, was Julie Solis with Adam, or was that somebody else instead of Julie?
That was somebody else.
That was somebody else. That wasn't Julie Solis.
No.
Who
Okay.
was that?
I should know her name, but I do not.
Okay.
We'll find it out, and I'm drawing. I can see her. I'm drawing a blank. We'll find the name out, and we'll make that change.
It's kind of nitpicky.
Nope, but that's fine. Anything else? Okay, with that name correction, a motion to approve the minutes of the July 23rd, 2018 village board meeting as presented.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, seconded by trustee Ham.
Bowden?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Marevka? Present. Jones?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
Accounts payable and payroll, pay period ending 7/28/18 in the amount of $45,572.25. Accounts payable, general fund, $29,550.62. Motor fuel tax fund, $5,296.75. Water and sewer fund, $39,197.65, giving a total of all funds, $74,045.02. Are there any questions on any of the bills? If not, a motion to pay the bills and pay the payroll.
I'll motion it.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Marevka, seconded by trustee Jones.
Marevka?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Public comment and/or questions on any non-agenda item.
Hi, everybody. This is Steve Hoffner, and coming here representing the Peotone Historical Society. Filled out an application for permit for requesting the day of the annual Mill Fall Fest, which would be September 16th. That'd be from the hours of 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I'd be requesting the street closure from Mill to Conrad. And as we've done in the past, the street was blocked off, but we only allow people to be like on the north side of the center line, so for emergency traffic, the south side can still get through if necessary. That's really it. Any questions?
No, this is an annual event. We will get this on the agenda, for official action next meeting, but as long as the trustees don't have any problem with that, you can certainly plan on that, and we'll coordinate with police and public works to, get the barricades and everything over there to close the street. All right.
Hopefully nice weather like we have
Yes,
this year.
absolutely. Thank you, Steve.
All right, thank you.
Reports of committees. No police chief's report tonight. Engineers report.
Sure, I'll give you an update of the projects that are going on. The sidewalk replacement project is complete. The street resurfacing project, the concrete work has been going on. I heard there's almost done, I think they still have some curb to do, and then on Crawford, and then they will start the pavement removal and the resurfacing. I'm not sure if it's gonna be sometime this week or next week to start with the actual paving, so. As far as our IDOT jobs, there's been some slow progress. On Radji Road, Nicor completed their relocations for their line that runs north-south. They do have a larger diagonal main, a test facility kind of on the north end, which they haven't moved yet, but our contractor can work around it. So now we're just waiting on ComEd to relocate their poles, which they're supposed to be doing it very soon. We're trying to get them to go. They said they were. I was in contact with the combat community relations person, and she got it moving. So now I've been contacting her to make sure it will happen. So that's, we're just waiting on ComEd now. And on the Route 50 project, Comcast finally did what they were supposed to do. So now AT&T and WOW need to move off the lines, the old poles. AT&T said they're gonna be done this week, and WOW's supposed to go right after them.
Okay.
So it's getting close. I think it's, getting to an end for the relocations of the utilities, so we can actually start.
So you think we'll still be able to move forward this year, at least for?
Once we know when we're ready, we're gonna meet with the contractors. They're not gonna give us a schedule till they know for sure, when they can start, because they have, forces on other projects, so, we're not gonna have them start anything they can't finish, or at least to a point,
Right.
but, as long as it gets done in the next few weeks, which we're really thinking it will now, I believe that they will start and get the majority of the projects done by the end of cold weather, so that's the hope. So we'll get schedules once we know for sure, with the utilities. I let the school superintendent, the high school superintendent know. just kind of the
I
update
spoke
you
with
saw.
him.
Okay.
I spoke with him this week also,
Yeah.
or last week.
What was going on, and he was, I think originally he understood about the whole process, and luckily they have other access. points.
Right, and that's what he was telling me. They have
Yeah.
several other ways of in and out,
Yeah,
so,
he said it'll be
they'll certainly.
accommodating, so.
Which street are they gonna redo first? Crawford or Wilson?
I don't know the schedule. I don't know if they told us yet. I could try to find that out.
If we have a choice, should they focus on or Wilson? The school will be starting and tremendous amount of traffic there.
The Wilson, the concrete street,
Do they grind that concrete street up at all, or do they just go over the top?
they're gonna grind it, yeah. It's not something they normally do. It was a little more expensive to do the concrete grinding, but we had to get down deep enough to pave it, so. When does school start there?
The 20th.
Yeah, it's the 20th.
Okay.
Next
What do they,
Monday.
what do they actually hold it?
I think they just have preschool.
I think it's just the preschool, yeah.
Okay, well, I'll make a note of that.
It's the old.
At the old
Connor
junior
Shaw.
high at the
Yeah.
Connor Shaw Center.
It's still always
Yeah.
gonna be the old junior
It's
high.
a preschool.
I believe so,
Yeah.
yeah.
In the office building or
Administrative.
whatever. Yeah.
Right, administrative offices.
Okay,
Anything else, Troy?
that's all good.
Okay. In your packets, you also have the code enforcement report. Any questions or comments on that?
The train depot and land discussion that was in there. Train depot found
Uh-huh.
disrepair, but interested in giving the village the property. Is that something anybody's looked at? Do we want to entertain that? I'm always leery of
Right.
big companies giving us
Giving
free
away,
stuff.
exactly. And I think at that time, there was a little bit of discussion about that, and just as far as, use of that building, we really didn't have,
Yeah.
as a village, use for it, that we could determine. Somebody threw out the idea of a small museum or something of that nature, but that's a pretty small building.
Yeah, on kind of like almost an alley and.
Correct, right.
Okay, so we haven't done anything with
No,
it yet?
no.
When they talk about disrepair, physical disrepair to that building, or weeds and growth?
I don't know what his interpretation of,
Because the people that own that, they fix that up.
oh, yeah.
Really nice. I'm surprised it would need. And when they talk about the land, if they're gonna give it to us, we ought to identify where that is. Because some of that possibly could be the parking area across from the Legion, between North Street and Crawford.
Well, we rent that Quonset hut, don't we? Or that building that's there, don't we rent that from the railroad?
The part that used
Yeah,
to
we
be
lease
part
it.
of a fire.
It's a lease.
Yeah.
But the village, it was always the village's building. The fire department
Right.
used it.
But they own the land, and if we owned it, we could
Yeah,
control it.
I don't think the land was ever part of the discussion. I think it was strictly the building.
Oh, I thought it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, he might have said land, but my understanding was it was strictly the building that they were talking about.
I'm reading one sentence that says, deal with the village to give or purchase land, adjacent properties the village railroad owned throughout town.
We can
It's
do
a pretty
little-
broad statement,
yeah,
but-
we can do a little more
Yeah, we gotta find out what it
research
is.
into it. Right.
You know, because eventually, I mean, if they became nice parking lots or whatever, we would
Yeah.
own it and not have to pay leases or whatever.
Anything else on that? All right, no old business, so we'll move on to new business. Item A, Knights of Columbus request permission to sell Tootsie Rolls in the village for the Knights of Columbus 49th Annual Intellectual Disabilities Fund Drive, September the 21st through the 23rd. So we have a letter, Dear Village Board, once again, the Knights of Columbus request your permission to sell Tootsie Rolls in the village to raise money for the intellectually disabled. This year's drive is scheduled for Friday, September 21st through Sunday, September 23rd. As in years past, our intent is to distribute the candies at key intersections and outside local businesses. We will be contacting local retailers for permission to distribute at their locations. Last year, we were able to distribute in total over $5,000 across the following local charities: St. Coletta's of Illinois, Tinley Park, Good Shepherd Manor, Moments, Illinois Special Olympics, Area 6, down in the Southland, Tinley Park, Park Lawn School, Oak Park, Illinois. We look forward to your approval and thank you for your continued support. I will follow up with a copy of our commercial insurance policies for your records. Please feel free to contact me directly with any questions or issues. Sincerely, John J. Malone, Knights of Columbus Council 11232. This is an annual event. They do stand, post office banks. I know that they usually are out at Peotone Wilmington Road and Route 50, which is outside the village, so we have no ability to grant them that. But otherwise, I would look for a motion to approve the request from the Knights of Columbus to hold their annual fundraiser.
So moved.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee March, seconded by trustee Marevka.
March?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Item B, raffle license request, Adopt a Soldier, Sue Wackerlin, August,
Yeah,
21st, is that?
I think it should be 20.
Yeah, August 20, well, let's look on here. August, no, she's got August the 1st. So I think they actually do it prior to the fair also.
Then I do.
I'm assuming.
They're probably selling it longer than, but they're having the drawing.
Right, at the fair, correct.
How
So
many
this
raffles
is,
do we have going on at the fair now?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, there is.
There always have been,
Yeah.
but they never had to get a raffle license for
right,
us.
and that's why
Okay.
you're seeing them
Okay, oh my
now.
gosh, how many are there?
Yeah, this is they do a 50-50 raffle, Adopt a Soldier, every year.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee March, seconded by trustee Jones.
March?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Item C, resolutions. Number one, a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement to effect the dissolution of the Eastern Will County Communications Center, EastCom. In the past, I believe we did a dissolution agreement, but they came back with more information, and now we have specific numbers in this agreement that they have asked to have passed. So if you look on the amount declared surplus schedule, the Peotone Police, we are due to receive close to, it's $21,977.98. So basically what they're doing is they're taking all of the remaining funds, and they have a formula which has been approved by the EastCom Board of Directors, and taking that money and distributing it back to the different agencies. So this would be resolution number 18-R02, a resolution authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement to effect the dissolution of the Eastern Will County Communications Center, EastCom.
So
Questions?
Are there any strings to that money?
No.
or
No.
So that's just gonna go in the general budget?
I believe that's probably where it would go, or possibly back into the police side,
budget.
because that's where it came out of for the dispatch services.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, seconded by trustee Parker.
Bowden?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Number 2, a resolution authorizing the withdrawal from a governmental self-insurance subpool and membership in another governmental self-insurance subpool and requesting the approval of the Board of Directors of the Intergovernmental Personnel Benefit Cooperative, IPBC. So basically, we're part of an insurance pool. That's where we buy our insurance for the village employees. We've always been part of a sub-pool which included the village of Rantoul. Rantoul, I guess, from the way it's been explained to me, had probably the worst, most claims, just bad numbers. So they've removed Rantoul from that sub-pool, but when they removed Rantoul from that sub-pool became too small. So we have been moved with everybody else into a new sub-pool, which includes Plainfield, Mokina, Lockport. It's a good-sized sub-pool, it's a proper-sized sub-pool, it's a better sub-pool for us to be in as far as insurance goes. So we're going from EWBC to Schwam. Is the name of it, Schwam.
Any indication of what kind of a cost savings will incur?
Not necessarily, no, but it's just, in the long run, it's definitely going to be better for all of the villages involved.
Where's Marcy on this?
It's fine. I mean, she's not, yeah. I mean, insurance really isn't her billywhack. You know, this was more of a village administrator type thing.
Okay.
I had a long discussion with Bob Barber from Beecher, the village administrator over there, just making sure that, this was where we need to be, the right thing. Beecher's passing the same resolution tonight. All of the other agencies, other villages that are part of this have already passed this resolution.
So moved.
So a motion by trustee March to approve resolution number 18-R03, a resolution authorizing the withdrawal from a governmental self-insurance subpool and membership in another governmental self-insurance subpool and requesting the approval of the Board of Directors of the Intergovernmental Personnel Benefit Cooperative, IPBC. I guess we just need to fill our information in the blanks.
I need a second.
Yes, second, please.
Second.
Motion by trustee March, seconded by trustee Bowden.
March?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
And Marevka?
Yes.
Item D, approval of agreement with the state of Illinois regarding the engineering funding for the Corning Avenue resurfacing project.
This project is a federally funded project, so it's administered through IDOT. The funding was acquired years back, and it's an 80-20 split, so the federal government's paying 80%, the village pays 20%. That's for the engineering and for the construction. So right now, we're just trying to get these agreements through so we can begin the design work. So the first agreement is between the village and the state, saying the state's providing this funding at 80%. The second agreement is that's the second one, item E, is between Robinson Engineering and the village for the actual engineering agreement. Just so everyone knows how these works, because there's a lot of new board members. When we have a federal job through IDOT, the funding amounts get set when there's an engineering invoice that comes through, the village pays the engineer, and then we go ahead and submit to IDOT and say, we need to reimburse the village for this, whatever percentage. In most cases, it's 80. So just so everyone's aware how that works. For construction, it's the opposite, where the village, IDOT pays the construction, because it's obviously a lot bigger amount, and then they invoice the village the 20% or whatever it is. So this is to get the design, once IDOT approves these, to get the design going, and then once we get further in the design process, we'll have to do the construction agreements also. That's how it works for all these federal jobs, so.
What are the range on the Corning project? Was it from Route 50 to
It's
Ranchi, or?
from where the Route 50 project is going on right now ends, which it goes a couple 100 feet to the west, so it'll pick up where that left off. and then we'll go to Rathje, but there will be a gap in the middle of town where the streets were paved a few years back. I think it's from Third to First, but I don't have that with me.
I think you're right.
Okay. So there'll be a gap there, but the rest of it from Rathje to Route 50 will be paved.
And then, are there any plans for any kind of sewer water work? Nothing?
No, not as, this type of funding is strictly resurfacing.
Well, no, not as far as
Oh,
paying
sorry.
for it, but I guess my point being, you go in and redo it, and then get down the road 2 years, does it get torn up to put in water and sewer or anything that's under there that needs updating?
And I think that's something that we're gonna have a sit down, with Aqua,
Yeah.
and have that discussion.
If they
I mean,
identify
they've,
anything, they.
right, they've indicated, that that's the kind of thing that, they definitely wanna be part of.
Well, yeah, they
Right,
did.
exactly.
Make sure that,
So I think we need to take a look at that, because I know down at Corning and Route 50, I mean, is there still a 4-inch down there?
On Corning, yeah, that was one of the projects that we were gonna, the village wanted to go forward, replacing that 4-inch on
Mhm.
Corning. But then once the whole Aqua sale thing came about,
Mhm.
we kind of tabled it, or the village tabled it. So I think we actually already have plans designed to replace a stretch of water main on
So I
Corning.
think that's something that we can
Yeah.
approach them, and talk with them about, because they said that's the kind of thing they definitely wanted to be, a
Do it
part
before
of.
the resurface.
Correct.
now how does that work on the funding? Because if they tear up a side of the street, is it the agreement that they'll pay to put new street in over it? Like say they have to tear up a 2 or
Right.
3 block area.
But I think if we can coordinate it with.
Well, definitely
the project,
coordinate it, but would they
right.
still pay for that half, and then would that give us more money to do more work?
I
on
don't know,
Corning?
that I'm not sure of, Mike.
Otherwise, they're kind of getting a free ride on the funding.
That's something we'll have to look at.
When do you think this is in the books to go?
This one should go, it depends how quickly IDOT approves these design engineering agreements, which they've been very slow with, but I would hope that we'd either get, I'm hoping we get this in the April IDOT letting, so it could start in the summer. I know I was hoping on these two jobs too, but this job is resurfacing, it won't have a bunch of utilities to be relocated, so it should be a lot simpler resurfacing job. So if it gets on the April letting, we'd be hoping to start, in June. If it does get pushed to the June letting, because IDOT took a while to approve these agreements, then it'd probably start in August. So that's my best guess right now.
The resurfacing, that includes curbs and stuff?
It
where
includes, for this type of IDOT funding, it's curb and gutter removal and replacement up to a certain point. So if there's, bad sections near catch basin, we replace that curb. You can't replace all the curb. It's just, certain areas, certain patching areas, and certain sidewalk. They don't allow like a whole run of sidewalk, but they'll allow fixing ADA ramps and stuff like that.
Any other questions or discussion?
Troy, I know I'm probably sounding a broken record, but I would love to see West Street be the next project, so I'm just gonna keep throwing it out there, so it's obviously.
Once
Okay.
Will County governmentally puts out a call for funding, that'd be something we'll have to
Yeah.
discuss.
And there was some reason why we were able to do Corning, right? And get it funded by the feds?
It's every so often that Will County comes up with a call for projects. For
Right, this is through the Will County government.
Yeah, and the village submits applications for projects they want to do and estimate the construction engineering cost and then try to get the funding approved. The last time they did it, that's when we got the Rathje Road project and Corning project approved, which was really good because we got more than we're allowed. There was like a cap on it, but, we said there's 2, and they said, well, we have money, we could do it, So they only do it certain years where they do the call for projects, so that's, would be the time to look at it. When that happens, we'll find out, and then we can discuss future projects.
Any other question or discussions? If not, a motion to approve the agreement with the state of Illinois regarding the engineering funding for the Corning Avenue Research Project.
Motion.
Second?
Second it.
Motion by trustee March, seconded by trustee Maravka.
March?
There's Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was trustee Jones, I missed.
Yes.
I heard Mike, so I
Okay.
didn't like.
Jones?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Arch?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
And Bowden?
Yes.
Okay, item E, approval of agreement with Robinson Engineering for the design engineering of the Corning Avenue resurfacing project. So I think Troy has already explained this aspect of it. Is there any other questions or discussion on that?
I'll make a
Not
motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Ham, seconded by trustee March.
Ham?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
And Parker?
Yes.
Item F, consideration of proposals from GMT LLC and GovHR in regards to the vacant village administrator position. We've talked about how to move forward in our search for a new village administrator with the position being vacant. You know, we've got a few options. I mean, the last time we did this back in 2015, you know, we basically did it on our own. We came up with our own advertising. We placed it in certain, you know, municipal magazines and so forth, and put it out there and took applications and narrowed. I think we ended up with something like 50 or something like that, and then narrowed it down. And we interviewed, and then we did second interviews, and then we did our hire. There are agencies out there, you know, that will assist in this process. So in your packets, you had two proposals. The first proposal is from GMT, which is Gene Steinmark, who I think everybody has met. Gene is a consultant who has done a little bit of work here in the village as far as, you know, trying to bring economic development to the village. He's been doing that basically as an unpaid consultant up until this point in time. But part of their firm, they also have a couple retired village administrators that are part of the firm. So their proposal they've presented is basically for an interim administrator for 4 hours a day, 3 days a week. Then also Gene Steinmark working as on the economic development side of it. And then also the job search for the village administrator. So the way they broke it down for the administrator, they're $100 an hour at 48 hours for the month. Economic development, $100 an hour. He's quoted it at 20 hours a month. Basically, what he had said to me was, you know, that's all he would bill for, but he would more than likely be putting more than that 20 hours in. But at least that 20, but I said more than likely more than that, because he would really like, you know, to see Peotone continue to go. And then for the job search, $1,200 a month. So we're looking at over a 3-month period, 14,400, 6,000, and 3,600 for a total of $24,000 for the quarter, which they gave a comparison for the previous manager's salary, and that basically breaks down to right about what we were spending on an administrator's salary. There's some other documents in that package showing different companies that they've worked with as far as economic development goes. The gentleman that would be the interim administrator is Mike Schofield. I've met him a couple times previously. He's a retired administrator, and that's kind of who they were looking at plugging in if we wanted to go that direction. GovHR, a little more detailed in their proposal for the search, a lot more detailed, and I think you've had an opportunity to read through this. Basically what they would do, they would come in, they would sit down with us, they would get an idea of what we were looking for, they would create a recruitment brochure, they would do the advertising and candidate recruitment and outreach, they would do the evaluation and screening, they present recommended candidates, go through the interviewing process with us, And again, this is like a 3-month project. They're looking at, and their total is $14,000 for the recruitment fee, recruitment expenses not to exceed $3,500, and advertising costs not to exceed or quoted at $2,500, not to exceed unless approved by the village. So a total of $20,000 for the search process. As far as an interim goes, they were looking at possibly a 4-day work week, 10 hours a day, and what they do, whatever the candidate, whatever the interim administrator is paid, then there's a $40 or 40% fee attached to that. So a candidate was paid $50 an hour, the total cost would be $70 an hour with their fee in place.
So each one would give us somebody to fill in while we're looking. Is that what I'm kind of understanding?
Possibly, if we so desire.
Okay.
If we so desired.
While
You
we're
know,
still looking.
right. So
Or
I
while they're
did,
looking for us, right?
correct,
Okay.
correct. So, the last time we went through this back in 2015, we did go a little over 3 months, without an interim, where we just kind of wrote it out and just did what we had to do until we got to the hiring position. I did have a conversation with Marcy this morning about this also, and she feels like she doesn't think she needs or we need an interim administrator. She feels like we could do this on our own. So I guess what it comes down to is, do we want to pay somebody to help us with this search process? Do we want to save that money, do it on our own again, which was a lot of, it was a lot. But we were able, to get 50 applicants, at that time.
How many good ones?
Well, that's the thing, So I don't know. I still don't have an answer. I guess I'm looking for input from the board.
To me, the most important thing of this is that they can find us somebody good.
Right,
And they would, in theory, should know somebody good.
right.
We kind of go by our gut feeling and hope for the best. But if they've done this,
Well, and I mean, if you're looking strictly on the search aspect of it, the GovHR is, definitely much more detailed, on that. And that's what they do.
When did we do our search? 3 years ago, you said?
2015.
Okay. Do we have like the old applicants still available that we can maybe look back and ask if they would be?
We still have the applications, do we not, Donna?
I do.
The problem is, there weren't a whole lot of strong. It wasn't like we picked, it wasn't like we had like 5 people we really would want.
Yeah.
And just picked one of them. It was kind of,
Like, yeah.
at least that's my opinion.
Right.
I would
say it's
I-
fine.
I think we need to go with the search firm. I mean, this is a key position
Mhm.
for what we need going forward, and we need to invest in that position. I think.
Well, like I said, if we're looking at it strictly on the search end of it, I mean, the GovHR, and I don't know if you've had any experience with
Yeah.
them, Jim?
Yeah,
are they pretty good?
yeah, they're good. It's typical search firm, right? They know what they're doing. And,
I mean, it would seem like there's a limited number of candidates out there. I mean, I don't think there's like a huge pool. So you would hope that they would know, like, who's available or who might be available. I don't know.
they have knowledge of the people who they're dealing with and sources, where, for example, they'll call us if it's an assistant manager in one of the villages that we work with. They'll call and ask questions, and they do that kind of thing.
So, I know Marcy said she doesn't think that we need an interim, but what about on the economic development side? I mean, can we still just have Gene, could we hire him just to do that
We could.
part of it?
Yeah, I mean, we could, if we
'Cause I
if we got to the
hate
point. But I would almost want to wait until we had an administrator in place,
It's important, I think,
Yeah.
because you want the administrator in on that.
I mean, and that's why I think their proposal was the interim, who's, tied in to the
Right.
same company where they could work, hand in hand.
Uh-huh.
I get, the point was, we're looking at 3 months,
Yeah.
for that proposal. So what are we going to accomplish in 3 months? I don't know, but that's a very short window
Yeah.
when you're talking about economic development. I think if we get to a point where we can get an administrator in here, and then we want to start looking at possibly an economic development consultant, depending on who we end up with an administrator, I mean, that's something that we can look at that point in time.
So the feeling was from the office that they're fine for now.
For now.
We can always add somebody in later.
Correct. I mean, if it gets to a point where, I mean, you could always, go to GovHR or whoever, and get an interim in if you so desired.
The bulk of the responsibility will fall back on you to fill that position. Can you
Which
handle it?
I said I've been trying to do, I mean, as much as I can, trying to monitor the emails and take phone calls and return phone calls and go to meetings and, that type of stuff. Yeah, I'm just afraid of, I don't want things falling through the cracks, I mean, that's the big thing. With the insurance and, everything else. That's not my bill back.
Do you know anything that's looming on the horizon that needs to be addressed right now, or can it wait for 3 months?
Well, we have the negotiations.
Right.
That we've got to do. We'll go into a closed session for that. so.
Right. We'll have a discussion about that in a little bit.
I thought the GovHR was maybe just a little above our league as far as our needs, as far as that kind of heavy recruitment and top-notch talent. And I thought GMT really understands our core needs as a village with economic development and could probably fill whatever needs we need on that and get us through for the next time until we get somebody hired. So I guess I would go for these guys, and I would agree. I think we need to use a service of some sort.
Well, and again, they would provide a service,
Yep.
On that end also, just not as, detailed as the GovHR.
I think we can get some good candidates from these guys that are in the know. Been around the block.
What's your experience been, Jim?
Well, like I said, with GMT, I haven't really paid any attention to it. I'm sure somebody else in the office has. You're correct about GovHR. I mean, they're bigger. I think bigger. I mean, they're more, they're out there. They do bigger municipalities. And, generally, they're talking quite a bit more money for the village administrator, the salaries, running higher. So, I mean, I would say that. I mean, they know what they're doing, I know that. So, but the ones where we've seen them, working, I'm talking about, Lombard, Riverside, Northbrook.
Bigger communities.
Yeah, that are, I saw in there that they had Joliet and,
Lindenhurst and Bloomington.
yeah, now Lindenhurst is,
I mean, I looked on their website, they did have a few small communities that were even smaller than us in there, but.
well, they have, they have some knowledge too, just to say it, I mean, they know people, and like I had somebody, but they've got another job now that I would have told you about, that was the assistant at, I don't remember where right now, but he had called and said, I'm looking to get a position as the administrator. A very talented assistant, just like the person we had talked to, and in the room, but I think he was making 110,000 or 115,000 as the assistant. You know, so just, and it was a larger community, which is logical. You know, they have more resources, but they know people. They have a networking, you know, so they network, and I'm sure the other one probably does too.
They do.
I'm sure they do.
They do. Well, and I guess, I mean, they're really not apples and apples, you know, as far as proposals go. I mean, as far as price goes, they're very close. But one, you're strictly getting search, the other, you're getting economic development, interim administrator, and the search for basically the same number.
And we know them.
And we know them, yes.
Who are you the most comfortable with?
You'll have to be working really close with them.
Well, I don't know GovHR at all. I mean, I've talked to them, you know, on the phone 3 times over the last 2 weeks, you know, and emailed, you know, got their proposal by email. So that's really my extent of knowing them. I did talk to them back in 2015, you know, same purpose, but then we ended up not using them, you know, at that point in time.
You know the other group. I
Right.
mean, that's important, I think.
I think so too.
So, I mean, I guess the other thing is, let's say, do we want them just to strictly do the search at this time? You know, what would their proposal be for that? Do we want to go, you know, with the 3 months to see, you know, how it worked with the economic development portion of it, along with the interim administrator, them working together, you know, for that 3 months as we do the search? I mean, that's up to the board.
You think somebody that comes in for 3 months on a temporary basis can really sink their teeth into economic development wholeheartedly?
Well, I mean, to me, that's a short period of time, you know? I mean, that's why, I mean, I like the idea, but I think it's too short of a time. If we said we're gonna do it for a year, you know, then I would be,
They get something to prove.
right,
3 months are just kind of
right.
filling.
So Gene wants 6,000 a month, right? And for his proposal, it looked like
8.
8.
It was 8.
8?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's even more expensive.
Yeah, a little bit.
Because the headhunter is looking for 20, but it's gonna be he's acknowledging it's a 12-week process.
Right.
Cheap.
Cheap. They.
Safe term.
So, I don't know, we know Gene's guys. I'm concerned about, what am I concerned about? I'm concerned about their motivation. You know, they're developers, that's what they do.
Right.
They're not headhunters.
Right.
We could go 3 months and have,
Nothing and just pay them.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's my concern. Whereas I think the guys who are headhunters, they're headhunters.
Right.
And I know it's fluff advertising, but it says they got a 2-year guarantee on the recruitment. I've never heard of a headhunter giving a 2-year guarantee. Less than 1%. I mean, most headhunters give you 6 months. You don't even know anything about a person after 6 months.
Right.
But after 2 years, I think we'll know if we got a good one or we don't.
Right.
So I would lean for the GovHR recruitment.
I would agree only that if we're gonna pay somebody to do it, I wanna spend the money to do it right. I'm afraid that the GMT proposal really looks kind of like what we did ourselves, you know, from what, you know,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know what we'd be getting in a, you know, for the $3,600. I guess my fear is that we go through the whole process and we end up with the same caliber of candidates that we had last time. And
Well, and I think the caliber of candidate's gonna also be driven by the salary.
Right.
You know, which is something, I mean, if we do go with the GovHR, everybody's gonna have to be engaged in this process. You know, it can't be just me, because they're gonna wanna sit down with the board and find out, you know, what the board wants. I mean, that's
It'll be
all
interesting to
part.
see, hear from them, what they think we're gonna have to spend for who we think we're
Right.
looking for. And we may have to do some recalibrating.
So maybe the next, if we're leaning, and I've got 2 so far, and I've got 1 on the other side, and I haven't heard from 3. But I mean, if we're leaning towards the GovHR, then I think it might very well do us well to sit down with them, have a meeting with them, and have, you know, let's explore this a little bit more before we make a formal commitment.
Right.
You know, let's
Because
get
if
them in the
they're
room.
gonna guarantee a person
Right.
and say,
I
okay,
would
well,
agree with that,
they won't
yeah.
go any lower
But
than
let's get them in the
150,000 a
room
year.
with
Oh,
us,
sorry.
and so we know exactly what
Good
we're
luck.
getting into before we sign, you know, an agreement.
I'm with that.
Yeah.
All right. So I will contact them tomorrow and try to set up, maybe for either the committee of the whole meeting in 2 weeks, or if you guys want to move it, and girls, want to move it forward, you know, a little bit quicker, we can do a special committee of the whole meeting.
Does
you
that have to
know.
be an open session?
Yes.
Yeah,
Does have to be an
yeah.
open session.
But we could do it as a committee of the whole, you know, we could post it for next week
Okay.
and get them in. So let me see what their schedule's like. Does anybody have a day next week?
I won't be here.
You won't be here, okay. But like, even if we looked at maybe possibly next Monday at 6 o'clock,
Monday,
I'd like to get this moving, you know, I don't wanna
Yeah.
keep pushing it off.
Monday or Wednesday. Monday would be okay.
Can they bring like a market evaluation, like a range
Yeah.
type thing?
Yeah,
I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Base point for all of us.
all right.
Yeah.
So I will reach out to them tomorrow and try to get that set up, either for next Monday, or if it doesn't work next week for them, we'll look at the next committee of the whole meeting in 2 weeks. Right? I talked with Jim Bellata last week from Aqua, and we've been talking about trying to do, you know, like an open house type thing before we end up closing at the end of September, just so, you know, the residents can have an opportunity to ask questions and get all, you know, whatever information we can out. We're looking at Wednesday, September the 12th at the high school in the Commons area. I think wanted to know what the board thought, 5 to 7 or 6 to 8. Kind of looking at a 2-hour thing. What do you
I'd
feel?
say 6 to 8, only because of people's working schedules.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, that's just.
All right. So I've already checked with the school, they're available, and we've got the date picked, so we'll look at Wednesday, September the 12th, from 6 to 8. And we'll get more information out on that.
And can we ask them to, perhaps do a mailing or put something in the paper or something about just preparing the
Right.
residents? I mean, I know we've been talking about it's gonna be, triple the rate, but, I think if we can, so nobody says, oh, I never
Right,
heard anything
and that,
about
all that
this.
information will be available, and also about how they bill,
Right.
and so forth, but, yeah. Definitely. Anything else? Questions of the press?
Our zoning meeting for the,
Yes, so I attended that last Tuesday, the first meeting. I attended with Michael Mars and Bob Hinkie from Public Works. That was it's step 1 of 3.
Okay.
Last Tuesday, and that passed unanimously out of that land use, it was the land use committee. Tomorrow, 10:30 a.m., I will be in Joliet, and this is the Will County Board, it's a committee,
Right,
one of the committees.
and I'm sure it'll go,
So, we gotta go to that, and then it'll go to the third meeting to the full Will County Board. So, but we'll be at Will County at 10:30 tomorrow morning for that. So that's moving forward.
okay.
I have a question. Wilmington Road, 4 lanes, I read about that, it was on the front page of the paper, and I've had people asking me about it, I'm like, this is the first I've ever heard.
Which paper?
Yeah. Look at that.
I don't read the back. I did not know that. No, I didn't see that.
It was a long-term plan. from
Yeah, it's
somebody.
Well, and that's been part of the long-term
Right.
plan. That's why it's that SRA, has that SRA designation.
Right.
It's always been,
So it's nothing new.
no.
It's
No,
not like-
I knew it was, but it's something,
Yeah.
it just appeared like, you know, we get the bulldozers out and start
No.
widening the road, and people are like,
Right.
what's going on?
No.
That's all I know.
It's dangerous.
Anything else?
Just this weekend, I think the Park District's got a concert in the park this weekend.
Yes, and they've got
Saturday?
the dog,
Dog Day.
dog days in the park on Sunday.
On Sunday. Yep.
And I did share that on the village Facebook page. I'll try to remember to share it again though too. Nothing else? That I need a motion to go into closed session for the purpose of collective bargaining negotiations. Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Marevka, seconded by trustee Parker.
Marevka?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
March?
Yes.
And Jones?
Yes.
And we will go into closed session, and there will be no action coming out of closed session.
My swig of water at the wrong time.
You threw me
We were
off
waiting,
my...
no. He was like, no. We're not doing it.